Wow. Here we go. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. I know that there are things that are controversial in life. I know it. They're just controversial, and this is the most controversial thing ever. We started out in a Bronze League account, and as a GM player have been climbing up to Platinum with a variety of educational and trolley games. Now, we advance into the higher leagues. We're in the middle. We've made it this far. We've smurfed so much and received many a Grumpy Bear YouTube comment. If you're watching this video and you subscribe to my YouTube, give another grumpy YouTube comment about how this is wrong. And Neuro, we trusted you as a paragon of virtue in the StarCraft community, but now look at you queuing in Platinum 1 as Zerg. Can't even breathe, I'm so upset. It's Bjorn. It's Bjorn, the rising star on the ladder. Mouse-only mass queens, how could you think of the children? This is wrong. Has anyone done F2 only games? The legend of Bjorn grows daily, yes. Most people say super common movies. I haven't seen that one. Super common movies, it sounds kind of meta. Have you lost a single game? Yes. I lost a game where I was spamming spine crawlers trying to be funny and the opponent got carriers. Whoops. Okay. We have the first game of the day. First game of the day against a random on Fracture, which is the icy map. What should our game plan be here? Let's play it nice and calm, nice and slow, one step at a time. This is not a race to play as fast as we possibly can. Let's just play in a super deliberate, every move does something useful. We're not spamming, and we'll try to make this really easy to follow. So we made a second overlord here, that's this egg. This overlord is gonna go down here to the bottom of the ramp and check for proxy. Let's make 2 drones. Excellent. And then another one. So a cool timing for a drone scout. This is random, and I have heard from some people that they really enjoy drone scouting because it gives them a lot of confidence about what's going to happen. It's not really that fun to just be scared by some cheese and then die horribly and lose MMRs. Some people would rather sacrifice some income, so let's just do that. I'm making 2 more workers. We can rally this 18th worker here to build a swimming pool. Oh, we see an overlord, so we know that it's ZVZ. This drone is on our army hotkey. Let's get a swimming pool and then keep making drones. What do we see here? Oh my goodness gracious, there is no base. So we can do this. Look at this. Look at this beautiful pattern on the floor. Oh man. Yep, I would never make it as a Protoss player. Okay, let's scout. Let's take a gas. It's 20 supply, why not? There's a queen being made. Is there gas? Yes, there is. Okay. So this is my plan. Let's do something really refreshing. 20 overlord. Also outside my base, so I have vision of what's happening. When the swimming pool is done, we can make 2 queens and maybe do a wall off. Let's showcase a wall off. Let's make some drones, fill this, and then let's make a spine. Because they went pool first, I would rather not die to a cheese. They could go for mass speedling or something. So I'm just gonna make drones, queens with this spine, and a wall off. That's my defensive plan right now. Oh my goodness. Let's make maybe a few lings. Just so we have something to say to these. Wow, incredible. Let's make another queen. This queen is holding the door. Oh my goodness, it's a disaster. So this is a disaster, and the thing is, if you have a disaster, don't panic, just wall off. Let's just wall off. Look at this. Is this a place? Okay, this. Look at this. We can wall off with 2 buildings on this map. And then, you see this? We have 2 queens sealing the gate. So if there's a large number of zerglings, they can just sit there on hold position. So we have the hold position command clicked in here, and the lings can't enter our base. They're disciplined, right? The queens go to the area, and you say, stay. And they do that. Look, they're doing it. So let's get ranged attack. What does it take to do a roach timing? Lair and +1 ranged. We even killed a queen. Okay. So now we're gonna get a lair. We can put an overlord here to spread creep. Let's inject. Let's inject. And then how many drones do you want for a roach timing? Let's say about 40. 40 is a good amount. More lings running across the map. Oh my goodness. Should we be scared? Let's move this spine up. There are more zerglings coming. Would you believe this? I would. Some people make tons of zerglings. So now that we have 41, I just made 4 overlords. Because roaches take up a ton of supply. Every unit in StarCraft you can say has some upsides and some downsides. An upside of the roach is you get tons of HP. A downside is they just are super hungry for supply. So you really need to have an overlord explosion whenever you're moving into your roach production from your drone production. So we made a big heap of overlords, kind of in a wave. And then now we're just making a bunch of roaches. +1 range is almost done. And this is kind of like a pitcher. Think about like a baseball pitcher who is flailing about. The leg is like flying up in the air, and there's the bum. It's like waggling around, and the pitcher's hat is like it like goes this way and that. And you're like, what on earth are they doing? But then suddenly the baseball just flies out of their hand and it goes super fast and like spins around. This is what it's like. We're just winding up for a big pitch. You see that? And our pitch involves not a baseball, but 21 roaches and 2 queens. So let's just throw it. Let's throw it. We're just throwing our pitch here. This is like baseball. Does anyone know about that sport? We can even have our overlords contribute. They can drop creep on the floor. That's cool. They could even put a creep tumor. So here's the baseball. Okay. We're just gonna throw it. I shouldn't even need to micro here. Maybe a little bit. No. Not really. There is a third base for them. It's doing pretty good. I'm not microing this. I just attack moved. Okay. Why was it so strong? It's because these roaches have +1. That means that they're excellent. We could use the queen to transfuse. Wow. Let's get +2 ranged. This third base. Oh. Do you see that? It's just like baseball. The units made their own concave. Yeah. For people who know about sports, a lot of times you have sports knowledge that you can apply to StarCraft. Sometimes it's like basketball, other times it's like baseball. Sometimes it's like American football. But then other times you have to... Let's not talk about those times. Am I a bear? No, I'm a person, but I would say that the bear is sort of my spirit animal. Se habla español? Sí, se habla español. What time do you need the wall up to be safe? You basically make the wall as soon as your creep is in place to put it there. So if you were to go hatch first, did you notice that I made a creep tumor? I made a creep tumor with the energy of the queen at my natural. What do you want to see here? This is ZVZ on a short rush. ZVZ. ZVZ on a short rush map. Should we wall off again? Do the same thing? The name means bear. Yes, in Swedish. Deny the third all-game proxy hatch. We can try a proxy hatch. This is what, yeah, Pig has a name for this build. It's kind of PG-13. Okay. Let's see. Let's see if we can do this. This is dangerous. I would even go so far as to say that proxy hatching in ZVZ is what's called bad. But yeah, let's try it. Let's see. Let's see what happens here. It's a pool first scenario. So this is what's called the worst case scenario. Meaning, yeah, this is bad. Okay. Oh well. Let's see what we can do with this. Let's see. So what are our assets? We have a base, and we have this main. And I don't know if they noticed it. We'll find out soon if the Lings start attacking it. My drone went right past their drone. So you would think that they saw it. But there's a thing with StarCraft where one of your units seeing it doesn't necessarily mean that the human player also saw it. It doesn't mean that. Okay. So we should probably... I don't know what we should do. We should... yeah, I don't know. Okay, I see the Lings going up there. I think they know. I think the opponent knows. They might be waiting to let it finish. Okay, let's get Ling speed. Okay, we're making Lings from this base. And this base is our natural. We're making a spine crawler now. No one would ever expect this because it's so bad. But this is a good map for it technically because there's so much empty space in the main base. Kind of in this back corner. So it could work. It's better on this map than it would be on a lot of other maps. Okay. Well. Move. Okay, we're gonna get this. They would never expect this. Because it's bad. Just because it's bad doesn't mean it can't shine sometimes. Okay, so the enemy has a bunch of zerglings. But so do we, right? And there are zerglings appearing from their base. I bet they're starting to have question marks. Okay, let's establish these where some of the surface area is being denied by their own buildings. So we're using their buildings against them, and now they're just mentally stunned. The Lings are unsure of what to do, because there's an unusual situation taking place in their base. Where did those come from? Why are they here? How long will they stay here? Do you think they'll go away eventually? Nice. Thanks. Look at these nice people on the ladder. XD. What a good sport. Should we tell him? We'll tell him. We told him. What a nice person. Yosef Joseph Magosef is here. What's up, dude? Viewer request. They just dove into the next game. Didn't even think twice. Yep, that happens sometimes. On to the next one. It's probably not gonna happen again. That person was Diamond 3? Yes. Oh my god, this is someone from my old clan. Like the clan that I made. Oh yeah. I got you. Hello, senpai. Okay, this is intentional. Okay. So we're getting into the Diamond League, right? This is where it starts to get more strict in terms of what we can and cannot do. I did say that I welcome people sniping me if you want to during this time. That's fine. I won't be upset. What should we do? Do we want... We might be able to do a double Evo build. He knows. Change stream title, yes. I can do it between games. Proxy Evo chamber? Hidden research? Are you talking about like hiding an Evo chamber in the back of the enemy's base? To take hidden research that they wouldn't expect? Okay. There's no delay. It's like minimum delay. I think there's the beta test super low delay, which also kind of messes with your buffering for some people. So I don't think I turned that on. You should be able to see the latency to the broadcaster. Excuse me. Ugh. Is the drone still there? They would never expect this. Oh, he expected it. What? League of Legends. Okay. So we should be able to do a double Evo build here, I think. And if you want to get double upgrades, maybe around like 170 gas. 170 gas, you can drop both. Kind of do it as a wall off. But we're doing this with lings, right? This isn't with roaches. And we still want to make some drones. The ling speed is basically a stepping stone, so we don't die. That's the point of that. So we have 27 or so workers. We denied the proxy hatch. We did also lose a drone trying to go for hidden research. But you see right around the time that these finish, we have basically 250, 250. So double upgrades. Awesome. And then if you're thinking about this situation, you don't really want to trade speed zerglings before the upgrades are finished, because that's your power spike that you're setting up here, isn't it? You're setting up a bunch of really heavily upgraded lings. So we're still kind of droning up and trying to avoid... Wow. We're trying to avoid making big fights happen until our upgrades finish. And lings are really larva hungry. We talked about roaches in one of the earlier games and how they're super supply hungry. Lings are larva hungry. So if you want to have a zergling based strategy, you have to have tons of larvae. So this would be a really good situation to have not only a third base, but also a macro hatch real fast. Because then we can just make tons of lings. Another good reference point too is the amount of the amount of workers that can effectively mine on a base. So if it's 2 bases, so we see it's 2 bases, 2 gases, okay. So I think our worker count is basically what we want then, because we have 44 workers, and the opponent probably has around 40. Just based on what we can see here. 1 base, 1 gas, and then 1 base, 1 gas. So now let's make lings, because it's almost time, right? Our upgrades are nearly done. We can see roach speed, we can see an upgrade. So now we just want to pool up an overwhelming number of lings. We can take a lair and a bane nest. But really, this is all about larvae. How much larvae can we possibly muster right now? We can even move this spine down to give us an anchor to work with. We have the macro hatch. All of our tools are kind of coming online here. We see a bunch of roaches here. These do not have an upgrade. So this is, let's do the Moses, where you have all of your stuff split into 2 big groups. And then when they come in, you can just attack move and set up a really nice surround. Okay, so here we just click in, and then it's like the waves that crash in, and we get a full surround. These roaches have +1 attack. Okay. So we can drone now because we won the fight. And then just attack move. And our follow-up will be the other upgrade here. GG. Was an honor, League of Legends. You think you developed an acceptable title. Bronze to GM Zerg Learning. I accept this title. The Moses. Yes, we call this the Moses. For people who haven't followed my stream a whole bunch, I was raised religious, Christian, to be exact. And that was one of those Bible stories. You turned off the stream, sorry you sniped? No, I said that you're allowed to snipe. I even said that when we queued against each other, that doesn't make me mad. That's fine. This is your chance if you want to play against me. And I'm passing by your MMR, you can queue up. Lord Neuro of the Xenobroods, bless thy servants with your words of infinite wisdom. Tell us from the classroom setting, what is the sacred word of the day? The sacred word of the day, let it be known to all people, far and wide, is stupendous. What server are we queuing on? This is the North Americas, but also Australia and Brazil and Singapore and other places. Okay, Protoss. What is a thing that we can do against Protoss? Do you want to see a cheese against Protoss? Should we do should we proxy hatch? What cheese should we do? I feel like I never cheese Protoss, and some people don't think that it exists, but it does. What should we do? A fine Gouda. You like the 1-1 Ling build? Yeah, it's pretty good. The only thing that gives it a lot of trouble is if they go for 1-1 roaches. Proxy hatch, okay, we can do that. Okay. Okay, so the key for proxy hatch is to have lots of drones. This is like the Zerg's cannon rush, right? But instead of having cannons that shoot stuff and shield batteries that recharge stuff, you just make hatcheries that just create a very large obstacle, an object in the enemy's base. So this is a thinking game, because look at this hatchery. It has 1,500 hit points, which for people who don't know, that's a lot. That's a lot of hit points. As a reference, a drone has 40, and probes have 40 with their shields and stuff. So we can just establish a bunch of hit points in the enemy's base. On the flip side, if you were thinking about defending this, to deny it, you generally want to pull around 8. 8, I think, is good. But they did catch it pretty early. Cool. So we have more hit points here. And let's get even more hit points here. So this is just a mass of 1,500 plus 1,500 plus another 1,500 here. Incredible. So this is walled off. That's interesting. Okay. And we can play this into a macro game too, which is not the most beautiful of strategies, but it is a strategy. So let's try to make queens and stuff from this. We have supply that's been granted by the sneaky bases. These hidden bases that the opponent is yet to discover. But they just have so many hit points. So we can cancel this. But you can't build stuff in the back here. There's a Stargate. So we could queue up another queen. Or we could make a spore. Because think about it. Spores are able to fight air units. So if the enemy is making a Stargate, we can simply counter that by making spores. How amazing is that? It's amazing. So these lings can be attacking the probes. Cool. And there are some lings that are working on breaking through this wall if they can. Can I not attack this? We can't. These lings could even help here. There's a queen too. This is just a zealot exercise program. She can just zig and zag. And this queen will go down here. And we can just play a standard macro game from this. We did break the wall. Okay, so we see a Void Ray. And a lot of people get really alarmed by Void Rays. But one of the reasons why they're not super common at a high level is because Zerg can just spam queens. They just make queens. And they can counter it. You put the queens on a hotkey, and it's great. But yeah, it's a fairly simple solution to this. So we can drone this space. Another queen. Great. Now that this queen is out, what should we make? Another queen. That's right. We can just make queens and queens. And once we've made queens, we can make queens. So that was a cheese, but it wasn't committal, because we had a plan B. Our plan A was put 3 hatches in the enemy's main base. Our plan B is related to the information that we gathered during our plan A, which was that there was a Stargate making Void Rays. So So now we should scout. A really simple step. You see how I made 1 egg worth of lings? I'm just gonna send that. I didn't even put it in my army group. I'm just gonna send it for some information. Uh-oh, the Void Ray is here. Look at this, queens! It's just queens. We could take a lair. Lair is good. That unlocks lots of options. Lots of potential stuff. Let's spread some creep. Queens love creep, and they're terrible off creep. Is there a base? There's not a base. Why is there not a base? Is this an all-in? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we should defend. What unit should we make? I think the Roach Warren is a pretty sturdy structure. You get a lot of HP. If you think about that classic defensive Zerg composition against 1 or 2 base stuff, Roach Queen is really your go-to, because both of the units are really tough. They're resilient. It's hard for the Protoss to punch through Roach Queen. They need a lot of stuff. Okay, let's just do that again. Send another 2 lings at the opponent. Just figure out what's going on. What's going on at your base? A lot of times when you open in a weird way, the opponent is confused, and they're unsure of what's going on. But you have what you could call convergence points, which is basically the game state normalizing. You can have a weird opening, but it doesn't mean that the game necessarily stays weird the entire time. Because if you expand and you're kind of setting up and doing stuff, then you get into what could be called a respectful macro game. Or you could not call it that. It's up to you. Oh, this is tough. This is Immortal Void Ray Stalker. And we're trying to defend this with 3 base saturation, which is a little bit tough. And then Protoss uses their recall. That's a really good ability. Let me show you how to build a highway in simple, clear steps. So a Zerg highway is basically the process of using overlords that can drop creep to build a road that speeds your attacks, especially your queen heavy attacks. So we have queens, those are on a hotkey, and then our Roachling Ravagers on a hotkey. We have Roach speed. Protoss doesn't have a base though, so it's kind of like, should we really attack? If we have 3, you can get range attack. You should use your facilities. Okay. One of my major messages is to respect the opponent. Yes! Okay, so let's build a road. We have Overlord speed going. It's done. Let's get... It's almost done. Let's get a bunch of these Overlords. Let's tell everyone to drop creep. So we hit Control and we click the Overlords. So they're all selected to drop creep. Now, let's make a road. So 1, 2, and I'm shift-clicking, shift-click, and then these 2 go here. I shift-click, and this one goes here. So we've made a road. The Overlords have to fly out into position, but it's basically already being established. Oh, they're gonna attack me. Okay. I guess we will attack. Roach Queen is really nice because it basically just takes care of itself. It's just big. It's not like mutas. Correct. You are correct. How did they know? What gave it away, do you think? What gave it away? So, in this game, They had a really big army value lead for a long time, but didn't attack me. That was probably a big window of opportunity. It was the road that gave it away. Perhaps. Okay. Terran opponent. Terran opponent, what should we do? Ideas. Ideas. Infestors? Bane mines. Grebe. Terran, hatch contain. Burrowed baneling, slowling, one. Burrow the entire army. I do that on accident all the time. Infestor drop. Spine crawler drop. Baneling drop. 1/1 Ling Bane into mutas. I do that normally. I did that multiple times today just in my normal GM games. Hosts. Ultralisk drop. See what they're doing and then counter them. Burrow heal. Okay. I don't think I can do all of those, but I'll try to do some of those. Okay, let's see what we can do. But we still want to give a really clear step-by-step of what's happening. So this is a theme here. My second overlord always scouts for proxy. It's looking for barracks, for marines, SCVs, and bunkers and stuff, just so my home base is safe. And then this first overlord is looking to see the timing of the natural. Natural is a fancy way of saying the second base. And I believe the reason it's called the natural is because it is taken at the most natural and close and efficient place where you could possibly expand. So I pulled 2 workers off gas and I'm taking Ling speed. Let's put this overlord on this pedestal. These pedestals are kind of testy in terms of whether or not it actually gives you high ground or not, so you might have to adjust. Notice with these 4 Lings, I can kind of just let them attack, but I want to click back my lowest Ling and send it to retreat so it can heal. So I made my queens. Let's just make 2 overlords. And let's make another queen. Queens should have really clear jobs. A lot of times, people mix up their queen's jobs of like, who's injecting, who's spreading creep. Let's demonstrate really disciplined queen management. I think that's one of the most distinguishing factors of a Zerg player's skill, is knowing exactly what all of their queens are doing all the time. With the best players, it's like, yeah, I see exactly what the queens are doing. But a lot of times you have queens who kind of lose their purpose, where maybe they injected the base once, but then they're kind of just standing around wondering, what is love? What does it mean to exist? Let's refill the gas. 3 minutes 30 is generally speaking a good time to refill the gas, and the reason for that is because you notice I have 16 here and 16 here. So it's right when my 2 base economy is really kicking in. So let's get a lair. Just get a lair. Move up the tech tree. We could even get an Evo as well. So we're just kind of getting different stuff. So we see Hellions. Against Hellions, a really responsible choice is to make about 12 Lings so that you can deny them just diving into your drone line. So we have the queens here. The queens hold the door, and the Lings are behind to catch them if they get greedy and try to go in. So you see we have the queens here. These buildings help me to wall off. We want to have this base. Do we have our base cameras set up? Okay. So because there are Hellions and I can't really scout what's in the main, let's just send an overlord in. Let's also make a macro hatch because I'm going for a really Ling heavy style here. So I need all the larvae I can get. I'm kind of lacking larvae right now. You notice I have quite a bit of minerals. So let's just make queens from our bases. Queens are 150 minerals each. They don't cost larvae, so we make some queens. We see a banshee coming out. Spore, spore. And then we can make a spore at the third. Awesome. So this base, ouch, ouch. 4 banes is a good amount to be pretty safe against hellbats if they decide to morph those. So queens are attacking this now. And then let's transfer the workers back into the main. So let's give our queens super clear roles, so we know exactly who is doing what. Queen here, in the main. Your job is to inject this hatchery. Your job is to inject this hatchery. Your job is to inject this hatchery. And your job is to inject this hatchery. In addition, we have 4 queens and an overseer, whose job is to defend and spread creep. So the jobs are super clear here. And this makes your macro and your mechanics really clean, because the queens aren't just kind of running around confused, and you don't lose inject uptime, because everyone knows exactly what they're supposed to be doing. So let's get that infestation pit, so we can do funny stuff. Inject, 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 inject. Everyone knows their role and their responsibilities. Let's take more gases. We're just making drones. We have 59. We're supply block. Let's make 8 overlords. Who cares? Who cares? Don't worry about it. We can even fill these gases. So a couple mechanical things. It's pretty nice to just drone the base for the amount that you need, and then you can fix it later just by boxing a certain number. Let's say I box this. Oops, I have more than 3. I can just click this with 7, 1, 2, 3 with shift, and then click this, and then I can click a single drone and then put that on minerals. Oftentimes you'll see me do that really fast when I'm playing, just to saturate the gases at a base, but I don't talk about that step because it's kind of boring. But it makes the whole process a lot more efficient, and it's flexible based on how accurate your mouse control is. Because sometimes, let's be honest, you're not the most perfect. Maybe you have potato control because you're not really jacked in, you had a stressful work day, stuff like that. It happens to me too. I have some days where I can't click for crap, and it makes me sad. So you have a lot of those different areas where you can just adjust. If you meant to box 3, but you boxed 7, you can just fill both gases and then click one away. So we have a ton of lings, we can go around. And you want to click to where you think they're trying to go. That's the thing. It's like intercepting a receiver in football, like American football. We intercepted because we knew we could kind of see the Hellions are trying to go for this area or they're trying to go for this area, and I'm clicking ahead of them rather than attack moving. Because if I attack move, they can just scoot and keep moving away from me. And I'll lose a whole bunch and I'll be really sad. Cool. So we saw there was blue flame. That usually means that it's mech. Not always, but usually. Let's put 1 ling at each expansion. So what I do here is I have all my lings on one hotkey. I shift click my army here in the command card, and then I control rebind the army. So I'm subtracting 1 ling from the main army, and they just go on a quest and then they sit there. This guy's off hotkey. He's just gonna sit at that base until something happens. So there's a Liberator. You can move command the queen around. And you don't even need to tell her to attack, because as soon as she gets to the spot, she'll attack it automatically, because she's very upset that this lurker would be so foul as to attack workers. Let's get Neural Parasite. Let's get Burrow. Let's have fun. StarCraft is a fun video game. How many workers do we have? 62. Okay. So same thing. We have a whole bunch. 1, 2, 3. Click this one, shift 1, 2, 3, and then click this, and the rest will go to minerals. We just queued up a ton of injects on this base. Who cares? There's a liberator here. Awesome. Uh-oh. That is a lot of Hellions. Come on, queens. Okay, let's go. Fungal on all the heck bats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We could even throw some invested Terrans. Cool. This composition isn't the most ideal against mech, but it can be pretty doable. It all depends on having enough larvae to be able to make the units you want, and having pretty good upgrades. So, since we're not using F2, we still have those lings that are just guardians of these outer bases. Awesome. We have Burrow now. And the nice thing about infestors against mech is if they make those big expensive units, like Thors and whatnot, they can Neuro Parasite, and that becomes your supply, at least temporarily. So let's browse this location. What is this? Burrow. Burrow. Looks like it's just mass siege tanks. Well, tanks are bad against mutas and broodlords, so let's drop a spire. Oh, the queen that was here died. I'm sad. Okay, let's take a 5th base. Let's do this and just make a ton of zerglings. Uh-oh, we're supply blocked. We can make a bunch of overlords. And we can do that same shift-clicking maneuver here to fill vision around the map. So let's click here, shift, click here, shift, click an egg, click here, shift, click an egg, click here, shift, click an egg, here, here, there, and there, and get overlord speed. So now the map is going to be lit up in terms of vision. A big part of being fast at StarCraft is knowing where you can combine a bunch of different steps into a single idea. So having a big clump of overlords and then spreading them out, suddenly your map vision is excellent. And it was all kind of done together, rather than thinking about every single overlord as you make it to go to a certain place. You can do that, that's a valid method, but it makes it quite a bit slower. So we have these investors here, and it's tons of tanks. Let's get a greater spire. Looks like the opponent saw the creep spread and was just so demoralized. Oh no, they're upset. Did anyone see the Reddit post by Nice Username of the command center smashing all the lings? Okay, it's time for memes. The opponent is in diamond. Okay. So we want the Thors, if we have the choice. So let's grab a couple Thors, and as many tanks as we can. Great. I think that went well for us. It's not efficient, though. Talked about it before. People get really hyped about the way that Nesty killed Thors with Banes. Really, that was just a way of showcasing how far ahead he actually was. It's not a good thing that you would aspire to do, because it requires you to be in such a stupidly advantageous position that it's like, how can you plan to be that far ahead? Be the very best? Like no one ever was? How many of these does it take to kill a base? So I do have rapid fire on for this, which means I can just hold down the button and then wave my cursor around. So these guys are pretty tough. Now I have a massive gas bank, so I want to stop making lings. I just have so much gas. And you think about this gas like potential energy, right? Where I have earned this, but I haven't represented it yet in the game. It's not something that is an active threat to my opponent. It is a potential future threat. So I need to convert that. I need to convert the potential threat into an actual threat. My potential energy into kinetic energy. Called Broodlords. Okay. So we have 7. How do you think about Broodlords against mech? If you have just a few of them, the Thors can usually just focus them down. But if you have a great number of Broodlords, your broods can just overwhelm them, and the Thors can't really focus fire effectively. And then you want to think about the rest of your army as support for the broods. Broodlords require a lot of support to be successful. Just on their own, they're one of the easiest units to kill. But if they have a bunch of friends protecting them, they just spit out so many free units that it's just infuriating for the opponent to deal with it. So let's unburrow the infestors now, because we can't cast fungal when we're burrowed. We used to be able to, but that time has come and passed, unfortunately. So now we're just using broods to chip away, and the rest of our army is basically just babysitting. We don't even need to go in with the Ling Bane or the Corruptors. So there's a threat with the Vikings. So let's go in now, because there are a bunch of Vikings and stuff. And we want to make Corruptors too, to extend the success of our Broodlords and give us that air dominance. Let's get another base. Attack and expand. Take this, 1, 2. Oops, one more. Cool. So the broods are killing this. Yes, we lost a bunch of broods. We'll have a sad poem that we write for those Broodlords. They tried. Okay, but we did kill one of their most crucial bases. We need to check for this base. I feel like this is the next one that is some trouble for us. And we can make more infestors. Think about the ratio of cost for a given unit. You see here, the infestor is 100 minerals, 150 gas. So it's more gas than it is minerals. That means that if you have a really gas-heavy bank, that's a good unit to get your potential energy into kinetic energy. Let's see if we can do something with caustic spray. So we have these corruptors. Let's put them on a muta hotkey. And for a moment, let's treat them like they're mutas. That base doesn't have much defense. We could just box some units, attack, click here, and then shift attack there. So those lings are on their own quest, but I don't have to look at them because they're pretty cheap. I can look over here. What's happening here? There's a planetary. I can just rapid fire hold down caustic spray, and the DPS of caustic spray increases the longer that it's being applied. So this base is killed. Awesome. These lings are fighting this. Great. We can fall back. Let's make some more corruptors. And then some of these we can make broods. Let's do that. Broods. Awesome. Let's make some broods. This base is mining out. Let's transfer. And then we can go spine, spine, spore, gas, gas. That's a much more robust base than if there was nothing there, if it was just a bunch of drones. Okay, let's grab another base. This base is mined out. Let's transfer to the fresh base. Okay, so we did kill this one. Let's do the same thing. Attack, click, shift, attack, click. So these Ling Bane, they're going on a quest. And now I can focus on something else with my attention. We can even up the Broodlord count. We're going so heavy into air, we should keep taking the upgrades. We could even add a second spire, and then get one more worker in the gas. That is a lot of Vikings. We could burrow Banes here. It's a move people don't do very often. There's a viewer who gets super excited about burrowing Banes at a base. It doesn't always work, but when it does, it's hilarious. Okay, so it looks like they want to attack me. So we're using our Broodlords. We can fungal this, and then maybe try to neural some of these Thors. It's kind of tough. But if we neural more than half of the Thors, then we have more Thors than the opponent does, at least in the short term. There you go. That was a fun game. That opponent seemed pretty good. No GG. That's okay. It's not BM to not GG. What's up, Instinct? How you doing? I have to be pretty on point with the music that gets played so it doesn't get muted. Let's see. I think I can go to this list. I'm fine with these, my YouTube videos and stuff being monetized by the music artist, but there are certain artists who are in a database that mutes it in the Twitch VOD, which means that if I export it to YouTube, you can't hear it. And it is the sads. Let's do... Could do more Miss Monique. Her stuff doesn't get muted. Here, I'll get you the updated link. The Japanese Zen music. I don't think it was Japanese. I listened to Estos Tone, Internal Flight, which is he's a guitarist. You find the stream very educational? You play Protoss? Copyright. 36K. That's a lot. Cyril's like 7.5 or something. And I think he's the highest in the world. Thanks for laddering and teaching like this. You're welcome. Nujabus. Teaching. MMR is, it's kind of like world rank. It's more exclusively server rank. Or it's per server. Total career games 0? What? How does that happen? Cannonball. 7.5 isn't the highest. Someone just said they're 36K. Oh crap, you're right. You're so right. Wow. How wrong I was. Okay. ZVZ here. Do you want me to show you a gas pool hatch Ling Bane attack? It's a pretty standard build. I think it's a good one to have up your sleeve. And it's a pretty good one to go for, especially if you're kind of unsure about playing a macro game. So let's get a 17 gas here. This is the build, 17 gas, next drone comes out, build a pool, then build a drone. So we're gonna drone up to 17 now. See here, drone up to 17. This worker goes down to the natural. We just rally the egg down. We're not gonna make an 18th worker. Not right now. Let's pull some workers into this. 1, 2, 3. Go down here, take a base. Hotkey it, center it, camera location, if you want to. Let's make 2 more workers. How many do we have? 18. Let's go up to 19. Make 1 more. If you really want to min-max the stuff, you can make sure the closest mineral patches have 2 workers before the long ones. I just made a queen. As soon as the pool was done. Basically, the queen here from a pool first gives you an earlier power spike than a hatch first player would have. A hatch first player is going to shine when their 2 bases are injected, which happens later than a pool first player's first inject. So we should get a little explosion of strength with a bunch of speedlings before the opponent has a bunch of speedlings. So we can tell by their hatch progress, theirs is earlier than ours. We have 50 gas now, so let's take a Bane Nest. We're making a second queen after we injected, and the first queen goes down to the second base. This is a build where you don't really need to be shy about getting scouted. Like we said, it has that power spike, so we're going to be playing around that. We don't really need to be like, they scouted it, I can't do this. It's a pretty strong build in terms of what it can do. So we're gonna stick to the plan. We have 18 workers. That's 16 on minerals in the main and 2 out of 3 in the gas. Want to make sure our bases are injected. And then let's make a 32 overlord so we can spend our money. Bane Nest is done. Ling speed's gonna be done soon. And then you'll watch our Ling speed is gonna click faster than the opponent's. So we can chase these Lings down and kill them. So we want to run in front to intercept the same way we did against the Hellions in the previous game. And now we're still making Lings. And then now let's just box and then hold down the button. And then put the Banes in a separate control group. And now we're going to kind of fight for the ramp here. We could kill this base. Basically what we want to do is take whatever is available. We're not super picky about what we're taking. We do want to send the Banes in. Let's see if we can get the... Nope. They're doing a good job of controlling the ramp. So let's respect that. We can make some drones here. So the Lings are attacking. We're making more Lings. There's another queen out. They need a transfuse. Uh-oh, they missed it. So the Banes can go into the worker line. And then what I do here is I just right-click a drone. I right-click a drone that's kind of in the center of a big clump. I don't want to attack move the Banes, because then they'll just attack whatever. I want to right-click a drone that's in the center of a big group, so that the Banes will detonate on a cluster of workers, rather than on just a few that are on the outer edge. Only 2 on gas, yes. We're not looking to maximize the amount of gas we have because the main idea of this attack is the Speedling power spike. That's the whole point of this. Is our Ling speed happens faster, so we want to have that mobility and a big attack that capitalizes on that moment. The Banelings are just a way for us to address large numbers of Lings and also punish a bunch of Banes. And we're diamond. Cool. So this is gonna, I guess, feel more satisfying and less bad as we move up the ladder. And we get people who are closer and closer to the skill. We can focus on more legit builds, how those work and what the advantages of the builds are. But my build here, just to look at the build order, 17 supply, we take a gas, and then a pool straight away. We drone, and then we take a 17 hatch. Bear in mind when you're looking at these build order charts, it's a little bit weird for Zerg, because whenever you build a structure at a supply, it consumes the drone and your supply goes down. This doesn't mean I made a 16 hatch, it means that when I made the hatch, my supply became 16. Yes, I'm on NA. Mister. This is a friend. Representing Clan B. He has the Zergling portrait. There's an interesting meta here with the portraits people choose. Sometimes you make a portrait that represents one of your favorite units, and you make a lot of them. Oh my god, it worked. Yep. I told people this is a good time to stream snipe if you want to stream snipe. If you want to stream cheat and listen to me talking about beating you, that's fine too. I won't be upset. But if you do, you should admit it. No, it's up to you. It's up to you. Do what you want. Just be sure to subscribe, okay? So, this is a big map. Big map, big possibilities, big number of bases. I think maybe doing a little bit of a 2-base muta build showcase would be good here. 2-base muta, so hatch first. If you have a really macro-oriented plan, hatch first is a really powerful choice. It's saying, boom, I'm taking more economy and more production and more creep spread, and I'm moving forward on the map to occupy more space. You get a lot of power out of the choice of taking a base. So it's something that you shouldn't be scared of. You should think of taking a base as a bold move. A bold move that creates a lot of opportunity. And it's also a lot of work for your opponent to kill it. Snipe me for $5. No. Let's make a 20 Overlord. And one of the things that a lot of players mess up on when they're thinking about a muta build is they think about, I need to take fast gas, because mutas cost a lot of gas. It's true they cost a lot of gas, but in order to make the spire and the gases, all 4 of your gases, and expand, and have your queens and all that, you still have a lot of mineral expenditures as well. So we see a queen that's making there. We can see the hatchery is jiggling. We're going to keep making drones here. And let's go scout with our lings. We see 4 lings coming. Cool. So we're going to attack move. So if our if our lings encounter the enemy, they will attack and maybe do well. Let's make a spine. Just to really anchor this 2-base muta play. Because 2-base muta is expensive, and I don't really plan on doing a Ling Bane attack at the opponent. I'm making drones. Hatches, larva, drones. Hatches, larva, drones. That's all that's happening right now. So we see more lings coming. Wow. Okay. And a 3rd base. So let's tell these guys to go attack here. Okay. Making more drones. And we may need to make a few Banes, just because they're going to have a lot of larvae. And the opponent could choose to spend that larva into a large number of lings. So even though we do have the spine, we want to have a little bit of extra danger for a bunch of lings just rushing around our bases. So let's make 2 Banes, and then we're going to keep 2 lings in reserve, just in case. We see some lings coming. Let's keep droning. Hatches, larva, drones. Everything was drones just then. And now we're going to take 2 more gases, right as our base is reaching full saturation for minerals. So we have these Banes on a hotkey. These lings are on a hotkey. These queens are in position to hold the door. Let's make an Overlord. Now I'm going to change the rally point here and make another gas. You see how this base is overflowing with minerals? That's awesome. Because I can pull workers off of minerals and onto gas, and I still have a pretty respectable economy there. Okay, so the layer is done. We get a spire straight away. And now I'm continuing to make drones. This space is saturated, so I'm going to move the rally point up to the main. Cool. So we have full 2-base saturation. Let's make a couple more spines, just to really anchor down this idea of we want to have a powerful mutaflock that comes online. Our bases are safe. We don't have to worry about huge attacks. If there's a roach attack, We have a bunch of spines to address that. And then now, since the third base is going down, we can make a big round of lings. And the reason is, we've basically hit our saturation goal. Our bases are fully saturated for gases and minerals, so we might as well spend our larvae into something that can gain us something. The lings could gain us some map control and allow us to potentially deal some damage, or defend a big roach attack. So it's multi-purpose here. Since the bases are saturated, we can set the rally to the third. And let's send the queen here, so move command, shift, attack. So this will push the overlord away from the high ground so I can focus it down. Making 2 overlords. Okay. So we see lings coming over here. Let's put the queen in the hole and then hold position. Let's get the attack upgrade for the mutas. One really nice thing is to pull back a few units and force a greater force to run. I believe it's Sun Tzu who said a smaller army is but booty for an army which is larger. And I know some people might be like, but booty, that sounds redundant. No, it means booty as in like treasure, or something that it is sought after but isn't actively a threat. So you get that smaller army to be chased by the larger army, and it's sort of a small victory in and of itself. Because that army would like to attack, it would like to leverage its greater number in fighting force, 1, 2, 3. So we rallied 6 workers into the gases, and now we're just going to straight up drone the third base. Our supply block, let's make 3 overlords. And now the mutas are out. So we're sending the mutas, and the place we're sending them is the area between the opponent's third and second bases. So we see tons of Ling Bane coming. Let's just make tons of Ling Bane at our own base. And now we're controlling this spot. This spot is much less likely to have spore crawlers. It's that transfer location. So we're just moving the mutas in. There are some spores. We could shift right click them if we so chose to. GG. That's it. There's your 2 base muta. Which does eventually become a third base, but it's the second base that creates that power spike so you can afford the mutas. Nice playing against you, Mr. Mister. Don't climb too high. Okay. Donation during the game, thank you. Zolotl 823, love that you're doing this. Cheers, yo. Well, I go for attack over Carapace in that situation. So that's a good question. The Carapace upgrade is going to shine the most in muta versus muta. I didn't know what Mr. Mister was going for. I knew that there was a third base faster than mine, which usually means they're going for the ground advantage. And if you have the attack upgrade, that allows the mutas to clean up the ground units faster, like the lings, the banes, the roaches, to fight the queens, to kill the drones, to kill the overlords. Rather than the Carapace upgrade, which is going to be super awesome if you have a big muta versus muta battle, which could have been the case, but even in muta versus muta, going for +1/+1 on your mutas is a really good timing attack to hit, and trade your mutas against the enemy's mutas, which also involves the attack upgrade and the Carapace upgrade. So that's why attack is pretty nice. It's also cheaper. It only costs 1 muta, whereas the Carapace upgrade is more expensive. You got a new job? Nice. Congratulations. Attack is way better versus roaches. Yep. Yep. You're welcome. Rapid fire, I feel like, ends up being a really big reason why my APM is so high relative to a lot of players. I've tried lowering it in a lot of these games, but whenever you hold down the button, it just spikes up so high. How come defense costs more than the attack upgrade? Like game design wise? For Zerg, the defense upgrade applies to both ranged and melee units, so it applies to more things. But for air, I'm not quite sure what the reasoning is for that. Survivability versus damage. I don't know. I guess you would have to ask Blizzard that. They could have made them the same cost. Maybe mathematically the armor upgrade is on paper more valuable? I don't know. What was the answer to the mutas? But that's the thing that we talk about a lot, is it's not really rock, paper, scissors. If you looked at the workers active graph, I was just ahead. The nice thing about 2-base muta is you have a really clear goal for what your economy size is, and going up to 44 workers gives you a really powerful and luxurious army type. So the opponent there would want to represent as many, if not more, drones than me, and a similar luxurious army composition, like massing roaches and queens to defend my mutas, and then saturating their 3 bases into roach, hydra, lurker. That would be a ground approach. Additionally, the opponent could have gone for a faster third and tried to play really greedy into their own lair and spire and defend my mutaflock while harvesting more gas than me. That's kind of the 2 main options you have for dealing with a 2-base muta player. There is another option, and I did this against Destiny in one of his games when he was coming back to StarCraft, where you go for a fast third and you go for the 1-1 Ling style, and you just really try to overwhelm the ground of the 2-base muta player. Never let him take a third, and a lot of times you can take stabs at their base and just punch in and win. But you need a macro hatch and a bunch of stuff. Okay, so we see Barracks Factory. Let's do the Overlord speed build. I feel like this is a really good learning build. I did forget to make Lings. I was just having so much fun explaining so much stuff. Okay, so this is a pain in the butt. You shouldn't have to do this. You're supposed to make 4 Lings. Sorry about that. Please bear with us, chat. Okay, thank you. Okay. So let's make 2 Overlords. The bases are injected. We're making a 3rd queen here, but we're not making a queen in the main because Overlord speed. Overlord speed is a really nice upgrade for knowing exactly what the opponent is doing. Some players really like the process of cutting corners and reading from partial clues and stuff. Overlord speed is the opener that allows you to just zoom in with initiative and see everything that's going on. It's basically impossible for the Terran to stop a speed overseer, or sorry, Overlord, or Overseer Scout for that matter. So we're just gonna start the rally of that Overlord. It's already on its way. And then when the speed upgrade finishes, it'll go super fast and we can go kick some butt. So we did the interception type of click here. We did lose a worker at the 3rd. The opponents are getting better and better, so they're going to be picking up advantages here and there. That's good. We respect that. Okay. So we see with this Overlord Speed Scout a starport, and okay. Cool. So this is what's called the 2-1-1. And the reason it's called 2-1-1 is because it's 2 barracks, 1 factory, and 1 starport. A really nice and elegant solution to 2-1-1 that took Zerg players collectively many months to figure out is droning up really hard until about 4 minutes 30, which is about now, and then massing a bunch of lings and queens with +1/+1 upgrades. So we have these evos now. Let's take double upgrades, and let's make 2 overlords, and then we're just gonna mass tons of lings and queens. Ling Queen is a really efficient solution to Marine Medivac, and functionally, it's pretty similar, because Ling Queen is a caster unit that has a heal with the most basic mineral unit of Zerg. And Marine Medivac is an energy unit that supports and heals with the Marine, which is the most basic mineral unit of Terran. So it's kind of beautiful if you think about it. Oh, we see a tank coming. Okay, and a marauder. And a barracks. So a lot of these expenditures to me seem like they could have made a 3rd base. And there's an engineering bay. So this seems more on the aggressive side for 2-1-1 kind of styles. So a good worker count to go for here would be about 60, I think. Let's use the Queen control group. And we're focusing down the Medivac if we can. The Medivac is a unit that gains value over time. It builds energy, and it heals stuff. So the sooner we get rid of that, the better. Plus, queens deal more damage to air than they deal to ground. So if they ever have the choice of attacking a ground target versus an air target, they should basically always choose the air target. One thing to make things easier on yourself is just making 2 spores in the main against Bioterran. A lot of players just love doom dropping you. They just get all of their Medivacs and all of their stuff, and all the king's horses and all the king's men, and they just drop into your main, and then you're dead, and you can't put your base back together again. So let's drone 1, 2, 3, and then the other 3 rallied into here. We're injecting. We have 61 workers, perfect. 60 is a really nice amount for defending these kind of 2 base attacks. We have Lair on the way, but let's just mass lings. We're massing lings. We saw a bunch of extra production. We didn't see the 3rd base going up. And then look at this, a bunch of stuff is on the map. This ling is really important. Let's scout. We're scouting while we make overlords now. And we have a bunch of minerals. Oh no, what can we do? We could make queens. Queens spend our minerals. We could take a 4th. Sure. Queens and a 4th. And lings. And look at that, we've spent the money. 4th base, hotkeyed, camera location. Okay, queens, let's go. Let's prepare. Usually, did I just blow up the veins? Usually, they set up a big tank attack, like right here on the other side of the rocks. So if I can get some vision and some creep over there, it'll make defending that kind of stuff a lot easier on me. Sometimes the Banes get misclicked and they explode, and I'm sad. The worst is when they're just about to hit you with a big attack. My Baneling explode button is the same as my creep spread button. So if I go from creep spread and then I click my army and I make a mistake, they all die. And it's very sad. But the thing is, games are won or lost based on lots of silly mistakes. Some of them are more memorable than others. I think that's one of the more memorable and noisy mistakes that can be made. But where is the opponent's 3rd base? Okay, maybe they are going to expand. Well, now we have 60 workers. Let's go up to 70. That's probably fine. Let's spread creep. We're spreading creep. We're getting that economy up. We need to make some overlords. This base needs a lot of drones. This base. Cool. Let's go for mutas. Ling Bane muta against Terran. Here, I'll show you a cool counterattacking strategy. So I'm gonna box this portion of my group. It's a smaller amount, it's not everything. And we're gonna put it over here, kind of on the wings of the map. So it's just out on the side. And what we're gonna do, the way we're gonna think about that group, is whenever the opponent moves to attack us, we're gonna send that into their natural. So what do we have here? There's the big attack. So let's send it into the natural, just move command. It's a really, really high percentage move. It doesn't always work. But even against GMs, this works a huge amount of the time. And the reason is, they need to have the door open at their natural to be able to transfer new units out and to continue to build up the strength of their push here at my base. So the Lings get access here. Not only do they kill the workers, but they can also get on top of these new troops that are coming out. Which means this push that they've been setting up isn't really gaining in strength. It's just stuck because their supply lines are cut. And now we can break this because we've continued to make units over time. Yeah. GG. What? Oh? Wow. Yeah, counterattacks. Counterattacks, you can just put him over there on the side of the map. When the opening presents itself, you just send him in. I won the lottery? What? Awesome, please move along. XD. Please get out of my league. Thank you. Okay, I will. Your papers are in order. Please vacate promptly. XD. Get out of here. This is my league. Oh man, what? I thought they got into a game. I didn't, what? Oh. Okay. What do we do this time? Move along, sir. Do something silly this game. Okay. Like what? Hydra's Worms Bane Bust. Probably what, 20 hours? if you're adding up all the other VODs. Maybe a little bit less than that. But it's all wins, except for I lost one. It's been 91 games. Does that include the, like, placing the new account in bronze? Which I guess technically does count as part of the time it takes. Okay. Do something silly. Something silly. What is the silliest thing you could possibly imagine? Okay, now double it. We made a bonus overlord because I feel like, yeah, this is like a personality event where if they commit 2 Marines before a Reaper, they're gonna fly a building. They're gonna fly a building. So just make an extra overlord. I think you have to respect that, you know. Okay, let's take a base. Should we do 5 hatchling bane, like the old school lifestyle, like Startail life? The opponent could be cheesing. I don't know for sure, but I do know that they did spend some time with the barracks killing the overlord. But I don't know about this base. I don't know if it's a 1 base play or not. So let's make a few overlords, and then notice my ling speed is almost done. We can make a round of lings. Let's just make a round, and then we'll go back to droning. So these lings are going to be our special operative team. They can scout around, they can see what's up. They can tell us whether we should continue to macro and drone up, or if we need to make like spines if it's an all-in or whatever. Very important units here. So we inject, we get the queens, we spread creep. Okay. We don't really want to lose inject up time. Okay, so the lings are running over. I like attacking this. It messes them up quite a bit. There's a base here. Okay. Okay, it's Marine Marauder. This kind of seems similar to what they did last time. So our money is spiking up here. Let's get that 5 hatchling bane going. It's a fun style. I think this is one of the best styles to practice your injects, because massling bane is so larva intensive. Let's see if we can grab anything here. Killing a mule is nice. Okay. Let's get some more gases. This base, hotkey it. So this queen's job is to inject this base. This queen's job, why don't we have a base here? So let's get 2 evos. Let's get this. 2 links into this. Now the rally point of all hatches to the 3rd. We see more Marine Marauder. Let's make lings now. Okay, we have 50 workers. The opponent is on 2 bases. This is kind of similar to us dealing with the 2 base plays. Chibi Miharu, thank you for the host. How was your stream? Welcome. We're in a bronze to GM journey here. We're in Diamond 3 now. And this game, we're doing the 5 hatch Ling Bane style that Life did back in the day quite a bit. Rip. So we want to have double upgrades here, a lair, and a Bane nest. And we want to have a ton of lings. Ton of lings. We need overlords. Each queen has a dedicated hatch that she's injecting, which is wonderful. Since we're not going to make mutas, let's get some spores in the main, just to make defense a little bit easier on ourselves. What is this? I see the Marines here. And the Marauders. Let's just fight them. We have a lot of lings. Is this enough? No, it's not. Run! Okay. It's not. We have to run away. Okay. This queen is going to inject this space many times. Let's get overlord speed. Cool. So lair's on its way. We can rally to the 4th. And as a total, we kind of want around 60 workers. 60, I think, is the good stuff for this. Because we don't really need that much gas. We just need a bunch of minerals. Because slings cost minerals. We have 1-1 going here. Let's get Bane Nest, and then we're going to get 2-2. We can hear the in-game announcer yelling at us to make overlords, so we'll make overlords. 65 workers, okay. So we're just going around making sure every base is thoroughly injected. We have 5 hatches, and we're just making massling bane. Massling bane. Let's break rocks. Rocks like these definitely benefit. You're gonna get your food and watch. Sweet. I welcome you. We have so much larva. Let's make 2-2 upgrades. Okay. 1, 2, 3. 2 here, and then 1 more. Awesome. Lings are working on these. We're gonna make a big round of stuff. And this is like we said before. If we have a double Evo strategy in the works, we don't really want to fight unless we have to before we hit that power spike. So we have a bunch of Banes cooking up. We can send these Lings around. My Lings are 1-1, so they're pretty strong. So we're sending them in here. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 bases injected. And we just have tons of stuff. But really the essence of that, since you are GM and we match a lot, they're gonna say something. I'd like you to know, well, we've matched twice. How much you make ladder suck? Should we give it to him? Should we give it to him? No. Okay. They just want me to feel bad. I understand. I understand. I don't care about MMR. I just care about making you regret the choice of doing a bronze to GM. How often? How often are we talking here? Every game? Every second game? 2 to 3 a day. Okay, that's not a ratio out of how many? Four times a day. Hope you enjoyed it. Oh man. Oh man, the grumpy bears. Woo! Hang on. Yeah, well, let's wait. I'll wait. Get into a game. I'll wait. Move along, sir. I'm trying. It says they're in a game. Chibi Miharu, you're back just in time. I would say yes. The end of that match made me sad. How far with mouse only? I don't think I did mouse only, aside from when I played against Daw. Oh man. You don't think you've ever played a Smurf in Diamond? You've only played one in the last month? Purposefully supply block yourself for 2 minutes plus. That makes it sound like I should just AFK for 2 minutes. I guess there's stuff I could do when I'm supply blocked. It's very upsetting. Have you ever typed on a Ducky brand keyboard, like personally? Is that a meme? The only keyboard that I've used with streaming, well no, I did use a Black Widow tournament for a short period of time. I use a Ducky. I used a Ducky when I started streaming, and I moved from a blue switch Ducky to a brown switch. I'm not going to report that opponent. They didn't break TOS, they were just trying to twist the knife and make me feel bad for doing this. Which, I understand. I understand. It's a mixed bag, right? Because by doing a bronze to GM, I get to find out what's actually happening in all the leagues that I don't normally get to be in. I don't smurf on a regular basis. This is kind of a one-time shebang. So, just kind of having that point of friction of people being very upset, it lets me know. Smurfs are not welcome, I understand. I did get to defeat a few Smurfs along the way. A few people who are above the expected rank here. Why the switch from blues to browns? Because the artist who made the BlizzCon finalist portraits and also my overlay, he watched my stream back in the day and he said, Neuro, and I was like, hey Nico, what's up? He said, Neuro, your blue switch keyboard is really annoying. The clicky sound is just, I just don't like it. If you get a brown switch keyboard, I'll make you an out-of-game overlay. And I said, okay, that sounds awesome. So I did. I got a brown switch keyboard and now I have this. This is the one that he made. So this is a Zerg versus Zerg. Zerg versus Zerg. Hatch gas pool. Big Joe Bob. Cool. Let's see what we can find on the ladder. One of the first steps that's kind of ZVZ specific is your overlord pathing. I'm sending my second overlord here to this third base location. I'm sending my first overlord to the natural here to check for creep, and then over to this third base location. Thank you, Zergito. Appreciate that. And my third overlord is going to go right to the center of the map on this high ground. We're changing the rally point from the main to the natural and making one drone. What does your keyboard see of whiskey if it's so loud? Pool is done. 2 queens, 4 lings, ling speed, and then pull 1 worker off gas. Actually, let's pull 2 off. Let's try to showcase skipping Banes. Skipping Banes and going roaches in ZVZ. How does it work? Is it even possible? Is it a myth? Well, find out. So our lings are grouped up, we're just going to attack move them across the map. So if they do meet the enemy lings, they will attack immediately, rather than take damage when they're on a move command. Okay, so we're taking this third base. Oh my goodness, it was 6 lings. So we ended up losing the fight. That's tough. So we're going to need to make more, and then we also need an overlord. This is more than 6. That was 8. Okay. Okay, I see how it is. I see how it is. Okay. Well, we didn't lose any drones. But this has stated the intention, right? They've stated their intention of being on the aggressive side. So let's make a spine, just to make a statement of, I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing there. You're being aggressive. Just so aggressive. So I'm gonna make lings, so that I have something to say about that aggression. Having Banes is nice, but if you have a large number of lings, you can prevent Baneling morphs, and a lot of builds don't even involve that many Banes. And if you notice, whenever the opponent is attacking with lings and they make Banes, that subtracts from the number of lings they have. Whole. So I can just attack with my lings. So now we dismissed the Banes that were morphing on our side of the map. Let's get a Roach Warren. Let's transition out of this. We'll rally 2 workers into the gas, make another Overlord, make sure everything is injected, and then we can maybe attack, maybe. Maybe. Want to be careful, those Banes are going to finish pretty soon. We don't need to commit here because we have a massive economy lead. We can choose to take some of these smaller fights too, if we want to. It's not required, but it's nice. So with these drones, we should be able to beat it with the queens. Good job. Based on the number of workers we saw at the opponent's base, they're probably on about maybe 20 workers of an economy. So now let's make roaches. Roaches help us spend the gas that we've earned. We can refill the gas, make sure all the bases are injected. One of the queens died, so let's make a new one. Okay, let's send 2 lings onto this. The Baneling hit the egg. Ugh. That's bad for the Bane. Eggs have super high armor. If you didn't know, it's really hard to kill eggs. So now we have Roachling, which is pretty good. And we did split off a set of our lings into the enemy base, and they're basically just winning the game, which is great. A lot of times, the offensive player is focusing really hard on their attack, and they don't even notice notifications because they get a bunch of the your forces are under attack notification. But if they're attacking you, they kind of know, yes, I know that my stuff is being attacked. So we see here, let's look at what their vision looked like. And I'll also show you the move that I did and how I executed it. Because I had a huge number of lings. But we've talked before about having all your eggs in one basket. And if you have all your eggs in one basket, and the opponent puts a Baneling into the basket, all of your lings are dead. So we made 2 baskets. That's the thing. Basket number 1 was this. Let me go to my units and my control. Okay, so this is my stuff. This is basket number 1. It has 17 zerglings. I didn't choose exactly 17. I just boxed a smattering of zerglings, and I used the steal command, which is create control group and take away units, and I just sent them directly into the opponent's main. You see this move command? I just told them to go here. So it's really far into enemy territory, which is the furthest point from their army, which I knew was going to attack me. So my other basket here is a bunch of Roachling with the spine. And I don't really need to focus on my special ops group. This is my special ops group. If they get here, they're going to be successful. If there are Banes defending, that means that their attack is not going to be as strong. So it's kind of a win-win. Where going for a big counterattack, if you have a huge number of lings, like 35, you get really big diminishing returns on defending against Banes with lings. So you choose to split off some of the lings into a different basket, and then go attack. So we're attacking there. The opponent's vision, they're focusing on trying to make the most of this attack. And then by the time they go back to their base, everything is already dead. This is really common. Sweet. In the name of memes. Thank you, Ruslan Viter. 5 months in a row, appreciate you. You like the explanation? Cheers. Chibi Miharu, are you here? Are you present? Hi. Good night, Mr. Mister. It was nice playing against you. You're here. Chibi Miharu, I have something to say. You've been too kind, too upstanding, righteous, wholesome, good, amazing, and cool in the community. You're a knight now. I knight you. Not just Chibi Miharu, but a knight of this realm. Witness, all who are here. You owe her your respect. Watch yourself, or she'll ban the crap out of you. Amen. Or worse. She'll time you out over and over again. Bless. You have the power. It's so much power, I don't know what to do. Whoa. Message deleted. And watch her just go on a complete banning spree and ban everyone. You made a mistake, streamer. Please don't do that. Thanks for the power. No problem. You're not obligated to do anything. It's just some people hit a certain threshold of like, I know you personally, I trust you, and if something happens, I trust your judgment to step in and heck up a troll, you know? Jake has a sword in Discord. That's right, he does. He does. What does that mean? Okay, we're up against the Protoss. Please don't block my base. Okay. If Protoss doesn't block your base, your mindset should basically be like a quest giver in World of Warcraft who is ready to receive a quest. You know how they have a big question mark over their head? That's basically my life right now. Because it's not really that hard for Protoss to block the Zergs hatch first. And if they don't do that, a lot of times it's a fancy way of them saying that they want you to take it so that they can cannon rush it. So a nice thing to do is when your hatch is about halfway done, just send a worker and right-click a mineral patch. This drone, you see the circle around it? It's filling a bunch of vision to see what's up. If there was a cannon rush, this drone would have seen it. You can even check this other little corner, just to be sure. Yeah, we're good. Awesome. You have confirmed there is no cannon rush. Okay, so we see this is a gate nexus cyber. We can kind of tell from the timings of the buildings. If you see this, you know that the Protoss loves to play standard, whatever that means. So we're making an Overlord. I like taking a base at around 30. Do you see the Cyber Core, how it's... Oh my goodness. They really want Warp Gate research, that's what that tells me. So we're going for a 30 base, and we're making 4 links to defend the first Adept. This Queen injects. Let's make a 30 Overlord. Let's hotkey this third base. I'm curious here. There's a Stalker. Interesting. I'm interested at this. Let's inject this. Anytime you have an Overlord that's being shot at by something, I think a really smart move is to just instantly make another Overlord. Whether it's a Stalker shooting your Overlord, or a Marine, or a Phoenix, as soon as you see that, just instantly make another one, because you're going to need to make Overlords anyway. But you're about to lose one. So make another one. Fantastic. Let's make a third Queen. And then right around 3 minutes 30, like we said before, that's when you refill the gas. We're making Overlords. Let's make 2, because our Overlord is being so cruelly shot at. It's dead. We're taking a lair before 4 minutes. The reason that's nice is we can get roach speed, we can get overseers, and we can build a hydra den. If Protoss opens with a Stalker, I kind of prefer to err on the side of caution and make a roach warren. You can hit some really powerful timings if you skip the roach warren and you want to go for hydras and stuff. But in this case, I don't actually know what my opponent is going for aside from fast warp gate research. It could be DTs. It could be mass zealot. I know that it's not a third base, at least not at the usual locations. So let's make a big round of Overlords. We have 44 workers, which is 2 base full saturation. 430, we can make a couple spores. Cool. And then we have a few lings on the map for vision. So lair is done. Let's get roach speed and make a round of roaches. We've droned a whole bunch. Let's get an overseer too. This way we can see overseers and DTs. We can drone. Let's drone the third base a little bit. What is the opponent up to? I would guess that it's not something Stargate related, because they chose to chrono boost their cyber core when they could have chosen to chrono boost a robo unit or probes or something else. An adept to attack me. Let's make a bunch of overlords, and then here we can use the creep drop to connect these bases. Save ourselves needing to make another creep tumor. Alright. I'm concerned. Why did the opponent not do anything yet? What is going on here? We're going to send this overseer on a mission while we continue to build up our supply. Oh, there's an observer. An observer, conceptually speaking, is more of a defensive choice. And the reason for that is because it can't attack. It's invisible, it can look at stuff, but it can't attack me. And the reason someone would do that is because they want information over fighting power. If you wanted firepower, you want to make a Colossus, an Immortal, a Disruptor, or a Warp Prism or something. Okay, so we see it's Dark Shrine and a ton of gateways. So we're probably looking at maybe DT drop into Charge Lot Archon. Be strong here. Or maybe just straight up Charge Lot Archon. Cool. Well, we have a ton of roaches, so we can just attack move. We were kind of prepared for a 2-base attack because we read those partial clues, right? Of the Stalker. The Stalker wanted to deny vision. And in addition, you can see the lings on the minimap. They're denying the probe going for a 3rd base. So we're kind of just in the mode of, can we defend mass DT? DTs are really bad against roaches, but the roaches need to be able to see them to shoot them. Isn't it exciting when the warp prism goes between your main and your natural really fast? Wow. Okay, so the attack is over, kind of. Overlord speed is actually a pretty powerful counter expenditure. Baked Turtle, thank you for the host. Welcome. Hope you had a good stream. Okay. So we have a ton of roaches. Oh, this Archon was left behind? I'm sad. I'm sad for this Archon. Okay. So we have a follow-up plan here. Evo chamber, hydra range, fill the gas. Let's check our saturation, 57. That's not too good. Let's send 4 workers here. Hotkey the 4th base, camera location. Now let's make hydras. Hydras are a more luxurious unit, and part of the reason hydras are pretty nice in this spot in particular is because Protoss open with 2 base Dark Shrine Robo Twilight gateways, which is really expensive. And they could have made a Templar Archives instead to make Archons, but they chose to make a Dark Shrine and potentially punish my lack of detection. But I had detection, so too bad. Too bad. But that means their Storm is going to come online later, which means a large swell of Hydras is going to be stronger for a greater amount of time. Fantastic. So we have 200 supply. Technically the opponent should attack us, but we are very ahead. So let's just do a simple attack. Let's get a Lurker Den behind this so we have a plan B. Let's get Hydra speed. So there's other stuff going on here, even if this attack doesn't work out. But we have so much stuff right now. Let's break the rocks, break the ice, open up the map. Cool. So maybe they'll come down to fight us. Maybe we'll go up to fight them, but you can see the dramatic tension building. Let's attack here. So some of the stuff goes on the right side, some of the stuff goes on the left side. And let's get the Overseer. And this is the important unit because it allows us to see the DTs. Roach Hydra really takes care of itself. You don't have to micro it if you have a large number of units. Alright, that's it. Yes, I keep the Overseers in my army control group. The only time I take them off is if I'm afraid of them getting sniped against something like a mothership. In those cases, oftentimes what I'll do is I'll tell the Overseer to follow one of the backline units. Like, I'll say, hey Overseer, and it'll be like, hey Neuro, go follow that Hydra. Just follow it. Don't be in the army group, just follow that Hydra. Okay. And it follows the Hydra, so anything that comes in range of the army is going to be detected by this Overseer, but the Overseer won't fly into the enemy army and die. That's one of the most frustrating ways to lose, I think, is you have a bunch of detection, and you attack into the opponent, and your detection flies in and dies, and then the invisible units kill your whole army, and you're just like, you know? Good night, Chibi Miharu. What's been going on here? Oh, not much. We have a new Knight of the Realm, Chibi Miharu. Overseer should get an auto attack like High Templars. Kappa. Hey, Jake. 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 Is there a Jake here? Jake? Are you here? There's a Jake here. Is there a Jake here? There's a Sir Jake. Are you Sir Jake of the realm? A Sir Jake. That kind of sounds cool. You are Sir Jake. Oh, welcome, Sir Jake. The inconsistency was annoying me. That you were a mod in the Discord but not in the stream. But now balance has been restored to the Force. It's hard to see me up there. What's up, Johnny? I'm just a mobile and stealthy kind of guy. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. I can go where I want, dude. I can go where I want. You can't tell me what to do. This is why I'm so good at Battle Royale games. I just pop up, I shoot somebody, and they're like, wow, I didn't know there was someone in that barrel. Damn straight there was someone in that barrel, that was me. Oh crap, we're in a game. Oh crap, hang on. I was busy. Where are you? I can't see you. I'm invisible. That's the tough thing, isn't it? How can you see that which is invisible? You must spawn more detection. Do you want to see a 14-14? Because I messed up my build, so we might as well commit to it. Do you want to see a 14-14 versus Terran? This is an ancient build. This has been passed down in the StarCraft community for generations. This has been a thing since Heart of the Swarm. Or no, was it Wings? I think it had to go from the 12 worker start. I don't know. 14 gas, 14 pool, 14 overlord. I don't know. Let's do a 14-14. Should we do banelings or no banelings? It's your choice. Oh my goodness, we got scouted. Okay. I need to flip a table. 14-14 is 14 gas, 14 pool. But we've been scouted. Which means it's time to be very upset. Okay, let's do the Ling speed version. Because this is still pretty annoying to deal with for the enemy. Because what we're getting here is we're getting map control at a super early time. The Reaper can't do anything to us. The world is ours. Let's send these Lings down. This drone is going to work on this SCV. Lings go for the SCV. Let's make an Overlord. Awesome. Okay. So this is canceled. We take the base. And then we're technically free to go into a macro game. This isn't the most economical opening, but it creates a different kind of initiative for Zerg. Because this means the Terran has to invest a lot more to defend their second base. So we're basically delaying the progression of the game. It's harder for the opponent to saturate their base. It's also harder for us to get our base up because it's later. But that's fine. That's fine because it just shifts things in a way that we decided. That was our decision to do this build, kind of because we messed up our opening. But that's beside the point. That's beside the point. The point is, we have Zerglings. We see a factory. We see a barracks. But we have a base. We have 2 queens. We can drone. An Overlord just came out. We can make a 3rd queen. Let's keep looking up here. What is this going to be? A bunker. A cyclone. Okay. Okay. Let's make another queen. And this is that same normalization process we talked about before, right? Where sometimes you open up with a weird opening, but it can converge into a normal situation of a standard macro game. Because the setup I have now, you could see that in almost any game. I have 2 bases, I have 4 queens on the way, and I can choose to take a 3rd base. Sure. We've seen this a million times. But we went for a totally different build. But it's still converged. So it's still a ZT with a lot of the normal stuff that's happening. Let's get a roach warren. Okay, so we see 2 cyclones and a bunch of marines. What? This was the person who was upset to play against me twice. I didn't mean to queue into them twice, but we've made whatever the opposite of a fan is. I am sorry. Do you gain dark side points by default when you do a bronze to GM? I feel like with the commentary and stuff and the match analysis and everything, you can get some light side points by trying to help the community understand how the game works and give a lot more detailed information. But there are a lot of grumpy people along the way. Is it worth it? That's the thing. Is it worth it? What do you think? Yay or nay? Nope, not worth it. It's just too cruel and unusual. Yes, no. He will excommunicate me for 1 year for doing a bronze to GM. I know that Roddy is opposed to it. One of his, I guess one of our mutual viewers relayed that it is cheap content. And I said, ooh wow. Ooh wow. I thought Vibes bronze to GM was awesome. And I shouted it out on the Pylon show. He didn't say anything to me then, but he was willing to say stuff to his audience about it, which is the non-confrontational approach. The main motivator for me doing it was the earnest viewer who asks, I'm a Platinum 3 player. What do I do to get better? And me, I haven't been in Platinum since Wings of Liberty. So how would I know what's happening there? I would have to go there and investigate. And we even have a super awesome person who has volunteered to collect a lot of the data along the way. So it's the only friend I have on this account. And he's combing through the match history and recording the army value, the workers active, and also the GLHF GG at certain times against these opponents. So at the end of it all, we have a really nice kind of field science report. You're sure he did say that on the Pylon though? Did he though? I feel like I would have noticed. Maybe I was still flabbergasted by In Control's analogies. I thought he was just really quiet because he was so tired because it was so early in the morning. Nathaniel said it. Oh. You think it's great for the community, you don't see how people can be negative about it. Well, people are free to have their opinions, that's the thing, right? Sometimes you're going for stuff and there are people who get upset by it. It doesn't mean that I dislike Nathaniel to Rotterdam now, I respect their opinion. And a lot of times I feel like one of the key things of being a responsible adult is being able to maintain amiable relations with people who you don't agree with on everything. Because, for one, it's super hard to agree with anyone on everything. You can find common ground, but it's also healthy to debate certain stuff. So, I'm open to criticism about it, for sure. I'm trying to make it as positive as I possibly can. But you are going to have some people who don't agree with it. That's okay. That is okay. We're trying to learn. We're trying to max out with roaches. Just roaches. Something really simple. Roaches plus 1 attack. Nothing fancy. No micro. Just roaches. No micro. And make roaches. And attack. I'm starting to dribble with the basics. Okay, thank you for hanging out. Alright. Roaches are on the production, and the Terran is dead. We can use Contaminate from the Overseer. Delay the next tank. That could be fun. Don't stand in the circles. Sweet. 3 siege tanks. Hey Gene, how's it going? One fear is you turn the game off to new players. Here's the flip side, right? Is say you have 100% cognitive resource to play StarCraft. If I'm playing in GM, I'm basically partitioning, say, 10 to 15% of my mental resource to give commentary while I'm playing at low to mid GM. If I mute my microphone, I can devote my full self to playing as high as I possibly can. Anytime a streamer does something, like read the chat, or explain what the move they're doing is, or explain what their next move is, or explain their thought process, all of that takes energy from the brain and time from the brain that they could have spent toward playing their best. So with the Bronze GM, that's kind of like, I can devote 80 to 90% of my mental resource focusing on articulating what's happening to the point of really small details that I normally don't mention for people to better understand the building blocks of how the game works. That's the idea. It's a hot topic. It's on fire. People need to know what's going on. Is this okay? Why Contaminate doesn't get use? It does sometimes. I would say it's more rare. It's hard to get a really good payoff from it. We do have a command. Are Diamond players as bad as they think they are? Not. Well, we talked about this before. I think Diamond is the first league where people start to develop a sense of ego about their play, because it's the first league that kind of shimmers and shines in a way that people are saying, I'm in one of the higher leagues. You have GM, Masters, and Diamond, and then the mid leagues are Platinum, Gold, and low leagues are Bronze, Silver. So I think that's the first point where people start to get more salty and less humble. It's kind of a broad assessment to make, you could say. It's this guy? I'm in for a treat. What do you mean, it's this guy? Is this the guy whose name is player at a GM level? Because I know someone like this who is also Protoss. You struggle a lot versus his build. Oh, okay. Well, I guess we'll find out what his build is. Camera locations, taking the base. You're proud of reaching Diamond? I was too. The first time I got Diamond, I was really hyped. Really, all of the promotions in StarCraft, I think, feel really good. Largely because they're so few and far between. They did make it a little bit more frequent since you get 3 tiers per league. He does the same thing every time. I found it pretty easy to beat that, to be honest. Well. It was a unique build. It was the Pylon Gateway Surrender build. Player has 7% against Terran. Let me see. Is that the person... Is that the person who I play against in GM? Who's usually kind of master. Wait, where is their profile? No, I don't think it's that person. Holy moly, what? Maybe it is. This is the current season. 4,600 games? Wow. Is that like half the games? Like all games that are played in Diamond are this person? That is incredible. I am astonished right now. How do you have time for that? I don't know. I would guess that you would have to cheese every game and insta-quit your, like, they're insta-quitting versus Terran, it seems like. That's weird. Okay. How many of the games are 30-second GGs? Not that many. I think it's probably been about 15. In the low leagues, you get a lot of people who are trying to artificially lower their rating, but the higher and higher you get, the less often that happens. Yeah, it does seem like if you get into Bronze 3, a lot of times it is a contest of who can surrender faster. It does sort of feel that way. You want to know what the build was? I mean, I showed, it was just a Pylon Gateway opening and then they quit. Do you mean you want to know how they normally play? How did they look at my profile in the game, though? Okay. So, there's an Overlord. Great. There's creep spread. Let's get Ling speed. Notice their creep spread is way further forward than mine. Sometimes people take an earlier base than usual. I'm gonna send shift, click, click, control, rebind the army. I'm sending 2 Lings on a special mission. The mission to scout what is really happening in this game. We inject with both queens. We're still making drones. One thing that I noticed, and the thing that I love about ZVZ, especially trying to move up in leagues in ZVZ, is you can always crack open the replay and see what the opponent did and potentially just copy that. So what I did was I would go through, and if someone did a build that I couldn't stop and they just killed me, I would do that build until someone defended it. So the build that I did the most in Heart of the Swarm was the 17 gas, 16 pool, like, Ling flood. I would just mass a ton of Lings. And it wasn't really until I got to Diamond Master opponents where they could scout it and counter it and defend it. But when they defended it, they had like Queen Spine and I couldn't do anything. And it was amazing. Actually, we don't need Banes because we saw no Ling speed. Let's scout again. Take a lair. We'll tech up. Tech and drones. Tech, drones, and overlords. That's the order of the minute for us. So we're going to scout. We saw no Ling speed. which is kind of question marks, right? Like, what are you doing? If you're not taking Ling speed... Okay. Okay, you are taking Ling speed. And a lair. And a roach warren. Okay, I'm unsure about this. So let's go just for a bunch of speed roaches. When we're looking around here, we see a bunch of lings. Let's try to go to this spot. Get a little bit better of a trade. Hey, Queen, go help. Go help. There's a problem here. Our hero has fallen. This is an interesting style. Just run. Just run. The lings will protect you. Okay. So we have a pretty good setup here. And I'm not sure why they're taking a late ling speed. It might be a fake. But what we can do is just go for a speed roach ling timing. Because I've had a third for a long time, which is awesome. And the opponent is just starting their third, which means I have a huge larva advantage. Huge. You can use a larva advantage in two key ways. One way is to just drone up faster, harvest more resources, and defend stuff by making the same types of units. The other way is to kind of overwhelm their production, force them to make units, and you have the option between massing more army or droning behind it. So we have roach speed, we have ling speed. I have no evos right now, but that's fine because we're halfway to 200 supply. Upgrades aren't super impactful at this supply. Once we get up to max, they become really, really impactful. But right now, my edge is just larva and army. Okay, so the opponent is making drones. We can drone behind this. We want to click this roach, we see no upgrades in the command card thing. This thing. And I think they're basically dead. 2 spines. I was not expecting this. Okay. We're just attack moving. Again, these are roaches that don't have an upgrade. So you might be curious as to why my roach army was so much bigger. It's actually this right here. This base, this is what is part of a power spike that I didn't really learn until I got that coaching from Pig on ZVP. And the moment that happens here is when a player has their first 2 injects fall and they swing a whole bunch of workers at their natural. They take 2 gases, they fill them up, and they get their lair. And they convert that into a bunch of speed roaches. If you want to have a big army like this in the early game, you need to have your second base look like this. 17 out of 16, queen stationed there to inject, gases filled, with your main base with 1 gas. This is what a big roach push looks like, economically speaking. This base wasn't really that much of a factor. It did allow me to make a few more units and have a few more lings, but this is what really makes a strong power spike in terms of a big roach army that can hit and be really strong. Power spikes. What rating is this? This is Diamond 3 rank 1. Why 17 drones? 16 would be fine. Having less than 16 is a bigger problem than going a little bit over. If you have, I think even 18 to 19 workers on minerals at a base, you don't lose that much efficiency because some of the patches are longer. You have short patches and long patches. So having a third worker on the long patches is still pretty good. DHQK is now hosting. Thank you very much, dude. I think I'll see you at TwitchCon, right? Or BlizzCon, or both. I'm hyped. How was your stream? Your Terran is Diamond 2. You're wondering if I wouldn't do a custom game match since I'm playing players of similar skill right now. Yeah, I just got a game. Remind me after this and I'll do a game. Just BlizzCon. Sweet. Well, I'll see you there. Heck yeah. Okay, we'll do a fast game then. And then I'll play a custom against Ultra Hugs since Ultra Hugs is right around that level. That seems fun. Okay. Let's do... We could do the Ling All-In that I used that was a really effective cheese through most of Diamond. Okay, so let's get a 17 gas. Let's do it. And then let's get a pool right after. What game are you streaming? Hope my games go well. They are going well. We're in the midst of a Bronze to GM video series. This is like Diamond 2 to 3-ish neighborhood. So we're starting to kind of narrow down stuff. It used to be we could do whatever and troll and do silly stuff, but once you get into Diamond League, a lot of players have some pretty precise builds that you have to watch out for, and you can't be as ridiculous. We did pull off a proxy hatch earlier, which was kind of funny. We have 17 workers. Let's stop. We're gonna stop making workers here. This is a cheese. I think I'm like 3.7k Iceman. Okay, so we got 100 gas exactly, and then we pulled off gas. We're making 1 Overlord and a Queen in the main. And now it's nothing but Lings. Nothing but Lings. This Overlord is going to check for a base and then double back here. We're making Lings. Nothing but Lings. Oh my goodness, there are Lings coming across the map. What could this be? I thought I was going to be the one to attack. Excuse me. There's a drone here as well. The plot thickens. What is happening? Are they going to build a spine crawler? One of the interesting and sort of awkward situations in ZVZ, I guess you could say really any matchup, is when both players decide to cheese, but one person's cheese is a little bit more economical, luxurious, and late, and that person oftentimes has a sort of build order win. So we'll see here how this plays out, but they have a lot of the tools that I've been going for here, of having lots of Lings, having Ling speed. The difference is there's a spine. But yeah, I can just make Lings, and I'm injecting, and now I can attack, because their thing failed. So we're making Lings, the opponent is attacking, fantastic, wonderful. I didn't see a base there. Let's make another Overlord. Yeah, now we're just leveraging our larva advantage, because they hit their power spike faster than me, because their gas and their pool was faster than mine. The difference is, I had a second base earlier than the opponent. So now I can kind of just A-move Lings, and if we both make Lings constantly, I'm gonna win, because I have twice as many bases injected of production. And there is a Bane nest, but you can't make Banes without Lings. So I just send in the Lings, make sure my bases are injected, and yeah. This was the build that got me Diamond the first time. You call it the Jerry Rush sometimes. I don't remember why. Maybe there was someone named Jerry who did this all the time. But it's basically just a gas first, gas pool hatch Ling All-In with 17 to 16 workers. You're on NA server? Okay. Join channel Neuro W, the same as the emote. I joins. I see you. I invite you. Okay, let's do a custom on a ladder map. Melee, ladder maps. Ultra hugs. Any map. Sure. Let's do... What have we not done that much of? We haven't had that many lost and found games during this segment. Okay. Cool. His level is right around the point where I could also Protoss against him and it would be a pretty good game. Let me shut off stream and I'm good to go. Okay. You missed an opportunity to play Boardwalk again. Oh, that map. That map, I didn't really have universally good feelings about it. You know what I really liked? Derelict Watcher. Does anyone remember that map? That was a really cool map. How do you get over ladder anxiety? Any tips? Use the starter kit command. I made a video on that specifically. Do you like Redshift? Redshift is okay. It was neither a map that excited me nor frustrated me that much. It was kind of weird. I didn't really like ZBZ on that map very much. Okay. So it's a viewer custom game. And Ultra Hugs is Terran. Maybe we can learn something about our supporter, see what's up, and see if we can help them on their journey. Your stream is awesome. You started playing StarCraft again today. You won all your games thanks to the stream. You started Platinum, now you're Diamond 2. Keep up the awesome Zen work. Cheers. Well done. Getting back in it. I think one of the main things that is an exciting aspect of streaming is reassuring people a little bit that you don't need to play perfectly. Getting back into the game. You don't need to impress anybody. It's pretty fun to just kind of get to know the game again. Get to know the units and create some funny moments. You can be in all kinds of different leagues and have some really silly and interesting games that are very enjoyable. And one of the ways I can tell this is when I do the subscriber casting and analysis on Saturday. Silver League is the bomb. It is just the coolest league for the stuff that happens. Nothing is standard. They don't know what standard is down in Silver League. So they're making up their own stuff as they go along. But they know enough about the game that they have their hotkeys, they're making stuff. But everything is fresh and unique and unexpected. I can't predict anything that's gonna happen next. So it's so cool. Enjoy it. If you're new to the game and you're in Silver League, that is a time to be treasured and enjoyed. You shouldn't be like, oh, well, I wish I could be in Diamond. No, Diamond League is when people start to get grumpy. Enjoy Silver League for as long as you can. It kind of sounds like I'm talking like about school. Oh, I don't want to go to my university classes. No, trust me, work life is way worse. Okay, so we see a barracks. I still don't know whether it's Hellions or Marines. That's my first question that I have for a Zerg versus Terran. Hellions or Marines? What do you have? So we see the Reaper jumping up. I'm droning during this. Droning during the pressure is a really important concept in StarCraft in general. Not just for Zerg, but for all three races. Okay, so we see some Marines. Where did the Reaper go? Is it over here? Did it die? Let's send the wings. Checking the gas. You don't need to type to me. You should just do your best. Focus on the game. No. Okay. So now we can drone the third. We see that there are quite a few Marines. So we can probably infer that it's double medivac Marine. It could be a couple different things, but that's the most common one. It's also the most scary one. So it's kind of one of those prepare for the worst situations where I don't know for sure that the opponent is going for a double medivac Marine. But anything else aside from that is not going to be as strong. So I'm just going to drone. And it's 4:30, so I'm not going to drone any further than this. And now it's all about the queens and the lings. We have quite a bit of room for activities with the supply, which is fantastic. So now we're making all zerglings. We can see double engineering bay. This is a bit more of a macro intention. It's less aggressive than if someone went for no upgrades or a single upgrade, because a structure like an engineering bay or an evo chamber is an investment in the future. So that's a way of a player saying, I'm not fully committed to this attack. I want to have a power spike later on. And notice our money is getting kind of high. We can take a macro hatch. No shame in taking a macro hatch. There is that sort of culture in StarCraft where a lot of players will say, well, if the pros don't do it, then you shouldn't do it either. Well, I can't play as well as Cyril or Dark do, so my approach to the game is going to reflect more of what I'm capable of, rather than what someone who has 600 APM is capable of. You should find what works for you. If you want to emulate Beyond as best you can, you can. But can you? Can you though? Okay, so I'm going to take a base, and we have the upgrades going. Bane nest. It seems like it's bio. Okay, this 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then one more here. Take this. Beautiful. Hotkey, this is our fourth. Cool. So business is pretty good here. We have a lot of workers. What is this? Oh, the opponent is attacking in my main base. But look, we have spores. Excellent. One nice little check mark you can do is put, say, 12 or so lings in the main patrolling and take them off a hotkey just so they can focus on defending. So those are going to defend, and then now I can focus on my army here. And then if there's an attack, I can just box those and tell them, hey, help. Our forces are under attack. Queens can shoot that. We'll take this, and 2, 2. And we just killed a bunch of stuff so we can drone. Why not? Why not? Drones are good. Drones mean you have more choices moving forward. You can make more units moving forward. Every second that a drone exists and harvests resources, you're getting stronger. You're getting more wealthy. So we have lings. Let's use these lings to break rocks. Widening the paths is really good for melee units because they're trying to get surrounds and stuff. Neuro chokes are going to be better for siege tanks. Okay, so let's get a 5th base. Why not? We're a little bit supply blocked. Let's get Overlord speed and go for a scout. But this kind of game scenario is one that you can make quite a few predictions on. One of them is that the Terran has a lot of barracks. We've seen a lot of Marines. We've seen some medivacs. So we can infer what the tech distribution is like to a point, and then sort of go for a convergence point here. So what is our convergence point? We're going for 5 bases with a hive and a spire. And we're trying to go for something like Ultraling Bane Corruptor. Thank you very much for gifting that sub to Neuro. Fan account? What is this? Neuro was already taken. I'm Neuro. Me llamo Neuro. Hola. Okay, let's make some overlords. Right now our army is at rest. We want to kind of spread it out a little bit. Bioforces are really mobile, and they work pretty well in small groups. So we want to also kind of be ready for that split, where if they drop me on the right side over here and on the left side at the same time, I would have something to say about that, because I have some army here on the left side, I have some army here on the right side. Fantastic. So we're making a mutaflock now. 16 mutas, pretty nice amount. It takes around 15 mutas with an overseer to kill a widow mine before it hits. So that ends up being a pretty standard mutaflock size. If you just wanted to play Lingbane Muta, where the mutas weren't the entire idea of the game plan, but you did want to create a big threat, do that. 15 or so. Maybe a little bit more if you want to. If you're feeling spicy. So we can go for the hive. 1, 2, 3. And then send these over to the 5th base. Cool. If you're playing Lingbane Muta, the most fragile and sort of high skill ceiling units you have are the mutas. So you should focus mostly on that. Focus on the mutas, because they can just die instantly to Mass Marine. Lingbane, if Bio jumps onto a Lingbane army, the Lingbane can bite back and take care of itself. Whereas the mutas just evaporate super quick. So I'm focusing on these. Let's see what we can get. The opponent's doing a really good job of defending. Really good. So we can take a bunch of different tech stuff. Let's take Burrow. Let's take Pathogen Glands from this. Let's take a 6th base. Why not? 6th base. More money, more possibilities. Our main base and our natural are mining out. So we do want to have those options. Even if we don't increase our worker count beyond 70, it still gives us that choice of, okay, look at this, the 3rd base, it's mining out. We can transfer to the 5th, hotkey the 6th. We have our hive, and we get what Day 9 called the Orange Quartet. Adrenal Glands, 3/3, and then an Ultra Cavern, and then we're going to Chitinous. All those upgrades are orange, and there are 4 of them, hence the name. Wow. Brilliant. Thank you, Day 9. That's rapid fire creep spread. I picked it up from watching Cyril's replays. He does rapid fire creep spread a lot with his queens. It's not the most precise, but it is a really fast way to dump a lot of your energy out. We have a command for it in the Twitch chat if you don't know how to do it and you want a detailed explanation. Okay. So my army is quite large, and I want to divide it up a little bit so it's not all committed to do well in a single push, because I could lose to a lot of splash damage like tanks or Thors or something. So let's get the Chitinous upgrade. Let's get this. Queens should attack these, and the mutas can help too. Okay, so these units we put on a control group to go attack over here. We do see ghosts and Thors. Wow. Wow. Okay. So the Banes are attacking in here. I want to see if we can connect with the SCVs. And we also want to find out if there's going to be a 5th base coming up here soon. We're going to make some infestors, leverage that gas that we've mined. And one of the really nice pieces for dismantling a Terran, especially one who's doing a good job of making stuff like siege tanks and planetaries and turtling up, is a Nidus. And with a late game Nidus, what you're looking to do is get some vision in the main base if you can. Look at this. I'm rallying this Overseer into the corner of the enemy's main. And what it's going to try to do is provide vision where we can unload a whole bunch of Lings onto their production. Deal a bunch of damage where their army is really far away. Because they have all their army here by these outer bases, which is pretty normal. Usually in the late game, you're trying to defend your fresh bases, the new ones, rather than your old bases and stuff in the main. That's very protected by wall-offs and such. So let's just rally a whole bunch of Lings into the Nidus. Here, you go into the Nidus too. And we have our Nidus on a hotkey, so we can double tap it and jump to it, and also just press the key and then click where we want to unload that. Okay. So business is pretty good here. We're trying to control the mid-map with stuff, and then as the Nidus comes out, we can just unload it. Here, looks like they did notice. We can spread creep. Okay, cool. It is good to check your worker count periodically. Sometimes, as you've been making a bunch of structures and stuff, your worker count drops a little bit below what you want. 70, I would say, is probably the best for just maintaining a stable economy that allows you to consistently remax. So not only can you take fights, but if something happens to your army, you trade out a bunch of it, you can still make a lot more. There is one note here. If you're against Terran, your team color matters quite a bit, because the nuke dot is always red. And if you can't see red against your team color, it's basically impossible to find the dot. That's why I like green is probably my best color. The default is really good. Options, colors, your color. The dark green makes it pretty easy. You can pick it from the white. It kind of depends on what you prefer. But finding the red against orange would be hard. The red against red would be impossible. Pink, I think, would be pretty hard too. Cheers, apoptosis. Good luck, have fun. Grebe. That's my favorite. Should we take a quick pass at the game for Ultra Hugs? You felt good about the game? You didn't die. Yeah, you didn't auto die. That was good. That was a good stuff. You've been going for Bane drops in ZVT. You load them in your base and send them around the map, so you timed for +2. Cool. I think that can work out pretty well. The way that I would do it, mechanically speaking, is I would send 4 Lings over to the far right, like the very right side of the map, and 4 Lings over to the left side of the map, and then I would morph 2 Overlords to drop Overlords and send them both to that location while the Banes are morphing. And then you put the Banes in the Overlords and then you drop them. It makes it pretty mechanically easy, and you also don't have quite as much flight time, because the Banes in the Overlords, you could say, is a fairly dangerous period, where if they get shot down, it's kind of a bummer. But this way you have the Lings and you kind of have some flexibility over what happens. Did I notice though? Yep. It was too distracting. Yeah, ultimately you should do what you feel like works for you. How long have I been on for? About 11 hours. Sweet. What do you think? One mo? One mo? Two mo? GG Ultra Hugs, thanks for the game. That's cool. Getting to know the viewers with a live performance. Mastery is a path 8D. 69 mo, a million billion more. One mo. Neuro. Neuro. Forgot you're still in the party. Well, that's fine. Are you allowed to post clips from the stream? From this stream? I don't see why not. Captain Tomato. Oh man. I'm getting whipped into a frenzy this evening in terms of modding people. What, we have 2 new people who got the sword. Chibimiharu and Jake. There's another who I'm thinking about. Should I do it? Should I knight a third person? Go for the 3? 3 in an evening? You hold this sword with pride. I've just been having so many people complain about the mods lately. It's like, this is awesome. Let's get some more. Excalibur. Just give every sub a sword. I used to give them out super often, but I had a rogue mod, so it's kind of like a more rigorous vetting process. Dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, that was the Archon. The Archon that was left behind. The only good mod is a Skyrim mod. Woo! That's fun. You did a good thing, now you're mod. Yes. But there's someone who I went on a journey with, and I feel like it built a lot of trust and respect for this person. He's the dog in the backpack man. I don't know. I don't know if you could guess who it is with your guessing powers. I don't know. Okay, so it's ZVZ. Look at that creep going so far. That's one of those points of information, right? And the lings are out. Okay. Now this could be pretty normal. This could be pretty normal. We are getting to the point now where a lot of people have these really... Brad Pitt? What? We're just saying random names at this point. Okay. So it's 6 lings. We're gonna need overlords. Let's make 2. Just make some room for activities. And then we can make a lot of stuff. Right now the lings are just protecting the queen. I have fewer, so I don't really want to fight. Oh, stop it. Give me this sword already. Oh, stop it. Okay. So let's go attack. We have lots of lings. And we can take a third base behind it. Attack and expand, like Day 9 said. Just like Day 9 said. Let's make 2 Banes, 4 Banes, and notice since we morph them in groups of 2, then it's a lot easier to micro them in groups of 2. So the Ling Bane is attacking here. Okay, let's check for a third base. I need to find out if they're playing a 3-base Ling Bane or a 2-base. And behind that, we can take our Roach Warren. The Banes can go in, you can't explain that. We can take a Lair, Evo, Gas, Gas. So remember, it's that same power spike that we talked about before. That 2-base mineral with 3 gases power spike of Roach Queen. Okay, so we fill this, range attack. Cool. That's a lot of zerglings. This queen is gonna die, but she can do her best. She'll try her best. We'll try to make another queen at the third. But our base is under attack. It's tough. It's stressful. I'm stressed out right now by this attack. Okay. So we have a Lair. We can take Roach Speed. We want to try to keep our Banes on move command because the opponent is trying to select small numbers of Lings to trade out efficiently with our stuff. We don't want that. We want to keep our Baneling alive because that's a big threat for large numbers of Lings rushing in. Okay. Lings are trying to chip away at this. So I think we can just do the same sort of simple timing of whenever our +1 and Roach Speed are about done, we can go kind of bump the opponent and see what they have. If we were to attack earlier than that, it would be a lot easier for them to kind of see it and respond to it. You can send the roaches a bit before Roach Speed is done, and it'll finish while they're in transit. I think that's basically fine. So let's just go. And then we do see some Banes there. Cool. You can just drone. Drones and roaches. Imagine if you could move larva. Okay, the opponent does have roaches. +1 ranged and Roach Speed just finished at the same time. Let's try to get a nice concave. So we want to get the bigger arc in this fight, so I box my army in half and then I attack move in. We're kind of seeing what they have. And we back up so that we still have the concave. Want it to be a really wide arc. Because you see the back roaches of the opponent, they're unable to fire because they have a traffic jam. But we don't, because we have a nice concave. We're all spread out. We go back to inject. And we can drone the third base and take a fourth base if we want to. And a gas. We're floating minerals, so yeah, let's take a gas, sure. +2 ranged attack. We want to make some overlords for supply. And if you're in a Roach versus Roach game, and you control the middle base, then the new bases, or the new roaches that come from the third and the main, are just going to get picked off really easily. How many MMRs do you have? Nice. The new Bob Ross, that's pretty high praise. I can whistle both inward and outward, but I would say